Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the long-awaited part 2 of how to build self-discipline. I've done a part 1 a few weeks back, and in part 1 I spoke all about importance of having self-awareness. How can you use self-awareness exercise to kind of prime your environment before you even start to try and set a goal and then build the self-discipline. If you have not watched part 1, I highly suggest that you do so that in part 2 it's going to make more sense to you. So I'll link it in the description box below. Alright, in part 2, it's all about setting goals. I think the reason why I want to dedicate this time to talking about how to set goals, how to make your goals achievable and effective is because a lot of times people they fail to build self-discipline and achieve their goals because they don't do it right. They don't know how to set their goals properly. So I think one of the common mistakes that people would make when they are setting their goals is that, first of all, is that their goals are not realistic. It's very far from their reality. And if you don't actually do practice part 1, where you really come into honest terms with yourself on why you actually can't have that kind of self-discipline, why is it that you always fail to achieve that goal, it's going to help you to set goals in a more realistic and a clearer way. So I think for me, working with not just people around me, some of the clients that I have, oftentimes when you ask someone, so what do you want to achieve, what goal do you want to get out from this, usually people would describe or set something that is very, very ambitious and far-fetched, that if you assess their reality and then versus the goal they want to achieve, it's like it's hell and heaven. It's so far apart. And I guess the reason why is because oftentimes people have this motivation to set a goal is because maybe they are perhaps in a very uncomfortable situation. They are in certain pain, or they went through something very difficult, and they decided, that ultimatum that people would have, when they feel very desperate. Okay, you know what? From tomorrow onwards, I'm going to go to the gym every day. You are in the lowest part of, your discomfort. You want to regulate yourself, you want to get out from that situation. So we tend to make very slightly ambitious goals, because things that are extreme make us it kind of pacifies you to make you feel better, hey, I'm taking steps about it. So but the thing is, your steps are so big that it kind of, if you think about it long term, it is not something that you will actually do in the long run, which is why self-discipline becomes such an issue for you to keep up, and then to really persevere until you achieve the goal. So to give you an example, let's say your goal is you want to get healthy again, you want to be fit, you want to have a regular exercise routine, that you go to it, and not like you try a program and then after that you just stop completely, that complete switch of things. So let's say that is your goal. You want to get fit, you want to have a regular schedule, you want things to be more organized in terms of your wellness. However, realistically speaking, you are a person that is very spontaneous, you are very easygoing, you don't really have a plan, perhaps you don't even have a routine. So if that is your reality and that is not your personality, again, in part 1, I spoke about setting goals that are identity based. So let's say that you're a very spontaneous person, you like to go with the flow, but then you want to have a goal that requires you to have a lot of structure, right? So your reality and your goal, it's very, very far. So for you to get closer to your goal, it's going to require a lot of willpower and self-discipline. So that is where it becomes extremely hard to maintain or to exercise self-discipline, because your goal is just too far from your reality, you know, or you just, you know, so motivated because you want to get out from that discomfort or pain that you're in. You just sign up for a fitness program that, you know, you require yourself to commit to it at least like 5 times a week, that kind of thing. And that is when you will feel good on that moment itself, because you kind of pacify. It's like a unconscious thing. You kind of pacify yourself, thinking that by taking this action, you are going to get your life straight. But the thing is, as you wake up tomorrow, or a week later, or a month later, or maybe 3 months later, you start to think to yourself like, but this, I can't do this. This is not sustainable. So just know that a habit is formed if you stick to it consistently for at least 21 days. So when you set a goal, right? Let's say your goal is, I am going to go for a walk 30 minutes every day, right? Say, so you ask yourself, can I go for a walk 30 minutes every day for the next 21 days? Okay? Or for the next 1 year? Realistically speaking, in order for that new habit, or in order for your self-discipline to really be actualized and to be strengthened, obviously going past beyond that 21 days is like achievable for like beginners level. But if you really want to practice strong self-discipline, it's to stick to it for a year. You need to really ask yourself, with this goal that I'm setting, am I able to fulfill it, to show up for myself for that 1 year? If your answer is, you know, like maybe you're not sure, it kind of makes you like, you know, that is a sign that you most likely are going to require a lot of willpower to maintain it, and most likely you will fail to reach to that goal, right? So I think setting your goals, making it very realistic, and making it, perhaps breaking it down into smaller goals, is going to be obviously manageable, more manageable. And let's say you were to fail, right? It wouldn't be so drastic, and it's easier for you to tweak things along the way, because you break down bigger goals into tinier goals and then extending the deadline or the timeline itself. And I think one important message that I want to share with everyone when you are setting your goal is that another mistake is your goal is influenced by other people. You basically see that, oh, you know, all your friends are starting to get more healthy, or they are getting their life together. You know, people are doing certain things to improve their life, and then you know that it's not you, but you feel pressurized. You know, you feel like you have to do the same thing, and you never really have that conversation with yourself, asking yourself that, is this really what you want? Or most importantly, let's say this is not what you want, but if you were to try to do it, how can it benefit you? So I guess my point is, when you set a goal, and then when you actually write down the goal and read that goal statement, does it tell you your why strong enough? Like, do you know why you want to achieve this goal? So not knowing your why, it's actually going to affect a lot about how you're going to, you know, really harness that self-discipline to achieve it. Not knowing your why, not knowing your purpose, you know, because obviously you're not going to have motivation every day. Nobody has that. So it is those times that you don't have motivation, it is the why that you need to remind yourself, okay, you know what, I don't have the mood, I don't have the desire, I don't feel like doing it, but I have to do it because of that particular why. And then of course another mistake, let's say you were to stick to your goal, and then you know, hiccups or obstacle come along the way, things don't go according to plan, and maybe let's say you have that personality where you are like all or nothing, like either I do it 100% or I don't do it at all. If you have that kind of mentality, it's going to be very hard to build self-discipline as well, because it's that perfectionist kind of mindset. Remember, this is one of my favorite actually statement or quote that I use at work, is that your brain is the rewarder and also the punisher. So in this case, you can have a goal, you can have a very solid plan, but things happen along the way. You need to have which is why your why needs to be strong, right? And then you need to anticipate. Let's say you fail. Let's say for that one day you did not stick to your diet, or that one day that you messed up your plan. Or let's say that one day, that, let's say you need to hit 10,000 steps every day. Let's make it as simple as that. But that particular day you don't feel well, or something came up and you just can't do it. Oftentimes, as human, right, we tend to have this behavior of like, we're going to punish ourselves. Just because I failed, I'm just going to fail it all at once. It's like the most common mistake, or the most common example, is that people who go on a very strict diet, right, they don't really like plan it out properly. They just extreme, they went straight in, all in, and then completely changed their diet. And then because their willpower is not strong, and then because it's such an extreme goal and it's such a short amount of time, and then something messed up, they accidentally maybe have to eat something that is not part of the plan, and then they are wired to think that, I already messed up my breakfast, I might as well mess up my lunch and my dinner, and then it becomes like whole week of messing up. So that's why I think that having control over your brain to think that, are you the rewarder or are you the punisher? So just making peace or come to terms that you are human. Failure would happen, but failure is what will teach you to have built that self-discipline, because you're going to learn these mistakes and not make it again, and then test your willpower even further. Like, let's say your willpower was not great at all the day before. The whole idea is, okay, it's fine, I accept it. I'm not going to further punish it. What I'm going to do is to get over it. So to get over it is, obviously, it's okay, tomorrow I'm going to try again to see where my willpower is at. So it's to have that kind of like hopeful mentality, or somewhat of a reward yourself for accepting the fact that you failed. It wouldn't be as harsh or as extreme if you were to, I already failed, I might as well just, punish myself further and just like waste it all. So I think that is the all or nothing mentality that would affect the way you set the goal and to build self-discipline to achieve it. So now let's close it off with, what can you do to set better goals, and then to along the way build better self-discipline. So I think I've broken it down into 3 key tips that at least I think worked very well for me and the people around me. So I think number 1 is really set goals based on your values as a person. So your identity, again, it's back to part 1. Having that self-awareness, and then setting a goal based on the values, the kind of person that you want to be. So instead of saying I need to run a certain mile every day, which is very task oriented, very outcome oriented, is that I'm actually a runner. I'm a fit runner that does it every day. So it's more of a identity oriented kind of goal rather than a very task, because that is when it's going to speak to you as a person, and it will be more sustainable. So another example is that oftentimes as human being, obviously we have ego, right? So we all want to look good. So one of the most common goal, or at least people that I speak to when they ask for fitness advice and so on, the goal is always to, I want to look good in a bikini. I want to have six pack. I want to have a smaller waist. I want to have a bigger butt. It's a very physical, egoistic, which is fine. It's fine to care for aesthetics and have aesthetic as a goal. It's just that you need to link it to all other intrinsic kind of benefit that will also give you quality of life in other areas, not just physically. So one example that I've written out is, okay, let's go back to, you want to look good in a bikini. Okay, so we know that it's a physical thing, so let's describe what that physical thing looks like. There's an airplane. You can hear it. Okay. So looking good in a bikini would mean that, let's say you have the right body composition, you have a smaller waist, you have more muscle tone, you have less body fat, you have a rounded butt, like tighter skin, physical, okay? But you need to think of other reasons, other benefits that come with that. So having a fit body will also mean that you need to take care of your diet, you need to go to the gym regularly. Perhaps you also need to sleep more. So all this is a reflection, and it's going to create a dominoes effect, with the other areas of your life. So example, when you eat better, you feel better, you have better mood, you don't have like crazy blood sugar levels, and it's going to cause you to have cravings and mood swings. When you go to the gym, you manage your stress better, because you kind of like pump up all this like good feel good body hormone, so your mood will generally be better. And because your mood is better, you have better sleep, and then you're gonna have better hair, better skin. You can not just look good, feel good, and able to create better relationship with people because you feel good. So I think it's really more than the physical aspect that we need to look at when you're just setting your goals. You need to think about, if I were to set this goal that is physical, right, is there any other reasons why, or any other benefits that will tie in with it? In that way, it will give you a stronger reason why you have to stick to the goal, right? And also, especially when you tie into your value as a person, right, it would be a lot stronger, and it will be sustainable because it will become part of your identity. Okay, now tip number 2 is, I think I've shared it earlier on, is that if your goal is big, right, it's okay to have ambitious goals, it's okay to go all out, it's just that you need to ask yourself, okay, this big goal that I have, how can I break it down to mini goals and to plan it in a more reasonable timeline so that you can breathe and you can monitor and adjust things along the way, so it doesn't get too overwhelming, because our life is unpredictable. So you want to be able to manage the risks and the failure that you're going to have when you're trying to build self-discipline. So same thing again, one of the most common thing that I heard whenever people are setting all these goals is that, let's say they are not a runner, they have never really run before, they don't even go for jogging, and it's difficult for them to hit 10,000 steps. And then one of their goals is that, I want to go to the gym 5 times a week. It's like, okay, girl, take a step back. So perhaps you need to see, okay, what's happening now? Let's say you're only 5,000 steps every day, right? You can stack it in a way where, like, okay, in the next 2 weeks or in the next 1 month, I'm going to increase by 1,000 steps, okay? Or you could be, by end of the year, I'm going to hit 10,000 steps every day. So you kind of like slowly build the momentum and build your way upwards, rather than you straight away be dramatic and say, you know what, tomorrow onwards, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week, I'm a changed person. That is bullshit, okay? So I think one of the most practical example that I've given to someone when it comes to being more active, that is the goal. I think everybody's goal is to, busy lifestyle but still want to be active, cannot really go to the gym every day, so because that's not realistic. And if you are not like a gym lover, it's completely understandable. And it's whenever you see like all this plan get shredded in 3 weeks, you know, like don't do that, because you're just going to cause yourself to have more issues after that. So let's say the goal is to just generally be more active, right? Okay, so one of the most practical ways that you can do it is, okay, let's say you have 2 to 3 meals a day, you know, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Okay, just tell yourself that, okay, in order for me to be more active, I don't want to intentionally go to a gym, or I don't want to, you know, like sign up with the program and follow the workout for 1 hour. I don't know whether I can commit to it. Let's say that is what is your reality. Okay, so then try to build the new habit on top of your current habit. So you would obviously have 2 or 3 meals a day depending on who you are, breakfast, lunch, dinner. So maybe you can set for yourself, every time I finish breakfast, I'm gonna go for a walk for 10 minutes, right? So breakfast, you have your breakfast, you have your 10 minutes walk, and then you go for your lunch, right? Later part of the day. And then lunch, after lunch, every time after I eat my meal, I'm going to go for a 10 minutes walk. So lunch, you go for another 10 minutes walk, right? And then dinner time, after I finish my dinner, I'm just going to digest my food. Let's go for a walk, another 10 minutes. 10 minutes is very fast. Some people shower, even pass longer than that. So in total, in that one day, you will already walked 30 minutes a day, because 10 from breakfast, 10 from lunch, 10 from dinner. So I think try to stack your habit, tie it to something that you already have. For me, I know that one of my struggle was that I need to keep up with a lot of podcasts, you know, to upgrade myself in terms of like self-development, or even like understanding what's happening in, you know, fitness or the carnivore diet, you know. So I try to find time to update myself. So what I did was, instead of just watching the videos, you know, I would, when I'm doing my makeup or I'm doing my hair, you know, I would be multitasking. Like there is a way to multitask. Obviously you wouldn't want to be diluted in your focus. So usually how I multitask is, let's say it's a habit that I'm very, very used to, you know, like blow drying my hair or curling my hair or doing my makeup. It's so autopilot, because this is like a habit that I've been doing for years. I would then put on a podcast, and then at least, you know, I'm updating myself with new knowledge of what's going on. At the same time, I'm doing my makeup. So that's how you kind of like stack it up, you know. And because my goal is to really at least every day learn something new, so that's when I can do it. And then the last tip that I will give you is so identify your potential setback or challenges. So I guess it's my personality type, because I tend to overthink, overanalyze, and I like to anticipate, you know, the future, or at least to be in control if things don't go my way, and always have many different plan or backup plans. Because I guess my value as a person is that, you know, always do your best to make sure that you do what you get to do. So that's why I need to have a lot of like backup plans. So the third one is a little bit more far-fetched. If you're not very used to it, perhaps just be more aware and identify what are your potential challenges. That's good enough. Don't even think about the plan, just anticipate. So I think one example that I can give you is in the past, when I was doing this very strict carnivore diet, I obviously didn't know what was coming. Like if I go out to eat, you know, would it be as easy as I just order steak and get it over with, you know? So, but the thing is, I was trying to do an elimination diet where I only eat meat and nothing else. So clearly there cannot be anything that will interrupt it. So I cannot afford to like go to a restaurant and I tell them I want a steak, and then they, let's say, cook it with vegetable oil or they put pepper on it. It would mess me up. So how is this related to identifying your potential setback is, let's say I get invited to a social gathering, or I have to go to a party, I have to go for a dinner ceremony, you know, and obviously I cannot predict what kind of food they're going to serve there. If I can call that place and make like preparation, I would normally do that kind of thing. But let's say I have no control, like I don't know what is going to be served where I'm going. I would, okay, so obviously identify the challenge is that, let's say I go to the party, they don't really serve the food that I want. Let's say they do serve meat, but it's marinated with something else and I can't eat it. So I'm going to eat before I go to the event. So I will always try to, let's say I have a goal, and then things come along the way, you know, you need to, for example, go to parties, meet friends, you know, things that are outside of your control, right? So the moment you have that kind of situation, you need to ask yourself, so what could potentially cause me to fail and not stick to my plan? And then think about what you can do with that. I must say, realistically speaking, it's only through trial and error, you know, your experience, that you get better and better with planning ahead and sticking to your goal. So I guess my point is that you just have to try, right? If you cannot anticipate, it's okay. Again, it goes back to my point about people not allowing failure to teach them to become better. So I think this is when it's most applicable. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for staying through and watching this video. I hope it's not too long, and I hope that some of my tips are actually useful. Let me know if you are actually trying any of this. You can feel free to DM me on Instagram. I'm more responsive there if you have more specific questions. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned to part 3. Bye.